Coming to you live on the Government Access Channel from Mario Bagnoni Chambers in beautiful downtown Erie. It's the Taxpayers Hotline Show with your host, Kaz Kwiatkowski.
Here we go. Looks like we got one caller already here. I'm doing this show alone today. This is Kaz Kwiatkowski, City Councilman. We'll go right to the phone. Go ahead, sir.
Yes, hi. I'm calling about, I called last week about an auto shop, 847 East 26th Street. And you said to call back next week. You said that you're going to find out a few things.
Yep, I turned it in, but I didn't find out anything, but I'm going back up today, and I'll check with him. That's the one you said that, refresh my memory. Was that the one that was...
that auto shop was dumping
the one that
into the city public line.
Yeah, that's the one.
It was syringes. There was mice and rats, and even homeless people sleeping in the vehicles at night.
Yep, I'm going back upstairs today. I turned it in last week, but I didn't get to talk to anybody. Of importance I wanted to, so I'll do that, and I won't be here next week, but if you want, you can call you can leave your number with the city clerk's office, and I'll call you when I get an answer.
Because I'm just afraid a kid might get injured. Something bad might happen to a kid.
Yep. Yeah, give the city clerk a number. I don't have it on me right away. You can call there and leave a message. I'll make sure I call you unless, because I say I won't be on the air next week.
Okay, then. So let's check back with you in 2 weeks.
Yes.
Okay, then. I thank you.
Unless you want to leave a message with the city clerk, and I'll get back to you if I hear anything.
Okay, then. Thanks.
Okay, thank you. So I'm kind of on my own. Hey, here we go. I always love phone calls. Go ahead, caller.
I called a couple of weeks ago. You told me to call back.
Yes.
And let me turn my TV down. I'm getting confused here. And let all the armchair quarterbacks, you can boot your box by sitting in your chair or laying on the couch.
Yeah, you told me that.
You know how to do it?
You want to tell everybody?
Yeah. You press settings on your remote.
Okay, I'm working this down because I'm going to try it at home. You hit settings.
Right. And then you scroll over on the bottom. You have a bunch of options, like favorite channels, timer, parent control. Go to quick settings.
Quick setting?
Yes.
Okay.
Then you just move this thing down to where it says boot receiver.
And that's it.
That's it.
So you go to settings on your remote.
Right.
Then you go to quick setting.
Right.
And then boot receiver. And of course, when you're done, you got to remember to. I think you have to turn it back on, right?
Well, I always turn well, you can leave your TV on because then it'll start counting down. But I always turn mine off.
But I think you have to put the cable back on when you're done because if I remember right, when it counts down, you have to turn the cable back on. Trying to remember, right?
I can't remember either.
Yeah, it doesn't come on right away. The TV's on, but you have to hit like the cable, have to hit the cable and put that on again.
Unless you have a box that gives you the time.
I'm actually going to be meeting with a representative from Spectrum in a week or so. So I'm going to bring some of these complaints to them, hopefully, or try to get a number. Because, boy, I tell you, the complaints have been numerous. It's hard to believe that after all these years, they still have all these problems. And a lot of it has to do with, I think, old equipment and old wiring. And you shouldn't have to reboot your TV as many times as you do, but I had to do mine the other day again for something weird like that. It just seems like you never can count on it staying on regular.
Right. My biggest complaint is when you go to your guide.
Yeah.
They have this stupid advertisement going across there.
Yeah, they've been doing that. It drove my wife noticed that, It didn't bother me because I see it a lot on other stuff, other media. But my wife notices right away. That's like you got 2 channels taken up by.
No, it's not taken up. It just skips them.
Yeah, it's advertising. Well, they instead of having like 6 channels in a row.
Yeah, I know.
Now you got a big thing blocked out saying, "Watch this channel for."
There's LA Finest.
Yeah, there you go. And then I had trouble with my app. Believe it or not, I was trying to. I had to call them because I couldn't get my phone app to work away from my house. Because it works good when you got your Wi-Fi.
I don't have a computer.
But
I don't have a cell phone either.
yeah, I had one, and when I'm on the road, I like to use my computer even, to get TV, to get the Spectrum TV app.
Modern technology stuff.
Yep, and you can get the. Are you a sports fan?
Oh yeah.
Well, which one do you like?
Which one do you want? Want to say?
Do you watch the Indians or Pirates?
I have the Yankees. I have the baseball package.
Oh, okay. Well, like I watch the Indians on the one, the STO. What's nice is when I'm out of town, I can, I downloaded the app, and by going through Spectrum, you can watch all the games on the road.
I can watch any game that's being played.
Yeah, I like that, but I'm not that much of a baseball nut that I want to pay that kind of money for everything. I mean, if you like that, that's okay.
Well, I'm 87, so what else do I have to spend my money on?
Well, I'm satisfied with the Indians, but I do it for football. Of course, we can't get the package. So what I do, I got this application where I have to wait till midnight to watch the games.
Okay.
Unless I go to one of the local establishments and watch it on DirecTV.
Okay, that's all I have. I'll let somebody else call in.
Well, I'm glad you called in because we get it, next time people get confused about how to boot, they can do it that way rather than get out of their chair and unplug it and everything.
Yep. Okay then, have a good day.
You too, thank you.
Bye-bye.
It's amazing how cable, so many problems with it. Go ahead, caller.
Hey, the Yankees bought a real slugger, huh?
Oh yeah, well you guys needed another one.
Why, sure. Hey, that's why we got so many championships. So beyond that, I've got something for you. Did you get my email? I emailed you.
You know what? I've been a little busy. I haven't read my emails.
Well, I contacted the complaint department.
I think I saw it, but I didn't read it all the way.
Well, the whole thing there is, I'll give it to you in a nutshell.
Yeah.
I see there was 57 citations for the quality of life.
Yeah, we asked about it. Remember on the show here?
Oh.
And what happened?
You got the runaround.
Yep, and then all of a sudden the the media asked for it, and they got the numbers already.
But now I want to get into my situation.
Yeah.
This gentleman has been burning all week long, and he's breaking the law. And I talked to the complaint department.
Oh, that's the one where they told you had to go to the district justice.
Yes, and I cannot understand why I have to go to the district justice when this gentleman is breaking the law. He has no cover. He burns 7 days a week. Everything else. Why should I have to go to the district justice?
Well, it's the same thing they told my. I don't want to say who told me this because then they'll know who's.
I know where you're going, and
Well, I know a gentleman came up to me and he was complaining about barking dogs.
Yeah.
Every night, and I got to agree with him, and he was told the same thing, and I'm going,
what the hell for?
yeah, why? I mean, it's not. I mean, if the ordinance doesn't cover it, okay, then I could see that. But we have ordinances that say you can't burn, dogs have to be under control and all that, and then putting the onus on the homeowner.
That's baloney. That's why you have quality of life.
Yeah, well, I'm gonna ask him, John. Well,
you know where it's at. But the whole thing here is, when I was told to go to a district justice, I should go to a district justice for that triangle up on the hill that the city owns.
Yeah, there again, I wish I knew what the hell was going on. They just got They got an attitude like,
That whole attitude down there, the fire department told me to call 911.
but the fire department has the ability, I thought they did, and I'm gonna ask the chief when I see him.
He wasn't the chief, he was the enforcement officer. He said it was all right.
What? No, he told me a long time ago that you can't burn except if you have an approved device.
Approved device with protection over it and everything else
And you can't burn trash.
on Saturday.
But you can't burn trash though.
That's right. Well, this guy's burning all the time, and we can smell it south. And it's constant. We can't even close our...
Is he doing it in a burning ring, John? Or?
He just has a great big ring from an old tire.
Oh, so it's not an approved device.
No, and there's no cover on it and everything else.
Is he cooking like for, is he seriously cooking hot dogs and marshmallows?
Well, I don't know if he is or not.
But he's having a campfire like.
Yeah, that's what I assume he thinks it is, a campfire deal. But you can't have campfires in the city either.
Not unless it's approved device.
Then you have the proper equipment in case something happens.
Yeah, you had to have one of those, way I thought it was told to me, you had to have what do you call it, a burning,
Burner with,
with the grate on top and everything.
on top and all that, but
Yeah, I mean, like, they have some that go around tables and you can't have it close to the house or up on a deck.
I'm going to get the mayor's email. I'm going to email it to him. And we're going to see what Rainbow Joe has to say.
I just, I'm amazed that, well, we had the same problem with the college kids. They were taking trees apart and burning the trees.
Sir Justice and swear out of the warrant.
Yeah, why? But you got to go down there now. You got to put the money up, and
Yeah.
not only that, then you got your neighbor ticked at you forever.
Well, sure. And the whole thing about it, this quality of life ordinance, I think it's a bunch of baloney.
Well, it's not baloney. They're not,
If it affects somebody else, all of a sudden,
57 is not a big number since we passed it.
take it out of the ordinance. What good is it if you're not going to do it properly?
But
They hired another enforcement officer, spend out that big money, and what is going on? That's all I go. What's going on?
Hey, John, 57 though is not a lot since we passed it.
I could get 57 in one day going down the street.
I gave up calling grass. Right now I'm a little busy with a couple of issues, but when I get around to driving again, when I get around to being able to take,
Pictures?
well, God, you've seen how much grass there is.
My God, it's unbelievable.
I don't even have to try that hard to see it. So I don't know what they do. They sit in their office or?
I have no idea, but there has to be something done. They have to punch a daily clock with their computers to how many calls they make, how many citations they've issued. Now, Moss is doing that constantly. He's working his heart out, and he's getting all the runaround, and I think that's a shame.
Well, I heard they need new equipment, but when we had the budget, nothing was mentioned. That's a time they should have said, well, we can't make this go unless we have this equipment. Well, we'll come up with a system,
Hey, I got another complaint.
Go ahead.
I see they're paving Liberty again from 26 to 29.
Yeah, I saw that.
And that was just done a couple years ago. I went over 10th Street the other day, and in front of the cathedral prep, all through that nice section of road, I want to say from Sassafras all the way up to, I think probably Myrtle. It's paved gorgeously on both sides of the road. Then you get on the other end, it's a Burma road.
Yep.
Why don't they get their act together and do a whole section at one time and do it completely and do it right?
Well, it's kind of like where they have the soapbox derby. That one gets done every few years too, right in front of ICU.
And what about where they have the soapbox derby? That's dressed up every year.
That's what I'm saying, right in front of ICU.
It's getting to be something else. I'm going to have to get a group together and don't pay our taxes until we're due to it, and put a shortfall on the city's money coming in.
It's been done in the past.
I mean, they cannot sell you. Just pay the 1 year, get up to that third year, then pay for the one behind it, and put the money in a bank and draw interest on what your penalty would be. It's time for the city to wake up and do it right. And the paving, how can you justify doing it 4 or 5 days, getting it all ready, returned? You're leaving your taxpayers out to get damage on their vehicles and the homeowners, I'm sure they're appreciative of the way they do that.
You mean leaving the roads?
To leave the road for a week or two or whatever.
I had a classic one. They did mine on a Sunday.
And nobody was notified.
No. They figured, and I was really mad because I have an obligation on Sunday.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I do.
And, I get up, if I'd have known about it, I'd have got up early,
And got out of there.
Yeah, because now I got a problem. I'm expected to be there.
Mm-hmm.
I have the equipment, and guess who can't get there?
You.
Unless I want to ride my car over some fresh blacktop,
Yep.
And it's amazing how, there's no...
And I understand
They put these little signs up, but they're not relevant,
Yep.
It's like at the soapbox derby. I don't know what got into somebody's head. They blocked the street, which is okay, I understand that.
But it's great for the kids, but you don't have to do the street every year.
But I mean, here's the problem. When you came over 38th Street...
You're right. Right turn.
Now, I was watching the news. There was nothing on the news.
Stations ahead of time.
Did you know anything? I didn't see anything on the news.
No, I didn't either.
So I come over that, and all of a sudden, the guy in front of me, he just cuts over and almost takes somebody out in the left lane.
Yep.
So I get up there and I said, "Oh, there's the problem. It's blockaded. Why don't they put a sign on?
And I'll tell you
West
that
on 38th Street.
The horses were out a week before the race.
Yeah, but they're laying on the side of the ground.
Staying on the corners where it says no parking, police ordinance.
Yeah, but you couldn't read the signs from your car.
You couldn't. And they should have rented one of those flashing signs and put up Soapbox Derby. State Street will be closed all the way down to 29th Street from 38th.
Or put a simple sign 2 blocks either direction.
Right.
Saying State Street closed north.
But
I've seen that in other towns,
I remember the Soapbox Derby years ago when it was on 2nd and State.
Didn't they used to have it on Liberty too?
I don't recall that. I recall the one on 2nd.
I remember one year they had it near Sacred Heart. Boy, that hill was...
Yeah, we used to sell pop down there. They had vendors. It went all the way down there by across from the bridge. There was 4,000 or 5,000 people came to that.
You mean on 2nd Street? I mean on State?
When it was on top of the 2nd and State.
That's what I saw a picture. I couldn't figure out what it was all about.
Yeah.
They showed a lot of people, but when they had it on Liberty Street near Sacred Heart, they couldn't start at the top of that hill.
No.
They went down about halfway down.
Well, I recall way back then they had the cars all the way up the 3rd and State, and they didn't set off till about the hill down there on 2nd and State, and it was just loaded with people. They had all kinds of vendors, popcorn, pops, everything else, and they drew a nice crowd, and the vendors made good money.
How'd they do that with the hospital there? Didn't bother them?
No, there was hardly any noise, and it didn't bother them, and they were in and out. You wouldn't believe it. They'd be gone in the same day. Now, those horses will probably lay there till next week sometimes.
Yeah. But I remember being on Liberty. I don't remember I probably was pretty young when it was on State.
Up there, they had all the way up there with the old coach company, the Erie Coach Company was there. They had all that area, and they had a nice crowd.
So I heard a rumor you were caught for handicapping.
Yeah, uh-huh.
What? No?
No.
I heard you were taking book down there.
No, I was selling pop. I had a pop stand. fact, I still have
Oh, man.
a cola that had an ice pick on one end and a bottle opener on the other end.
A what on one end?
An ice pick,
Yeah.
where you blessed the ice, because they came in cubes of ice.
Yeah.
And then there's the little piece in the middle, and then the pop opener was on the other end. I still have it. It's almost brand spanking new.
I gotta come over and see one. I used to have a nice pick.
The gentleman I worked for, he said, you did a great job for me. You take this as a memento. You'll always remember me in the soapbox derby.
What I want to give for a bottle of Rolla Cola right now?
The cream soda or the chocolate.
Yeah. I have to come over and take a look at that pick next time I'm at your house.
Remember when we used to get it for 99 cents a case?
Wow. Yep, I remember that.
Well, you have a great day, and
Call back if nobody else does.
go Yankees.
Yeah, what are you going to get to? I can see you in the parrot outfit now.
Have a good one.
Go ahead, caller. Go ahead, you're on.
Yes, I'm calling about what's your opinion on the big three companies in Erie, about how they're buying up everything in downtown, and do you feel that they're going to be tax exempt?
Big three, you mean?
Hammett, Erie Insurance, and Gannon?
Well, what they're doing downtown will be taxable. If you're talking about what they did on North Park Road,
Yes, yes.
yeah, that would not fall under tax exempt status. In fact, they announced, if I remember right, they announced it in the media, on the paper too, that they would be paying taxes. They're paying building permits right now, which is something that wasn't done by previous owners. So, they're paying us for building permits, and they plan on paying taxes. Erie Insurance will be taxable. If there's any LERTAs, of course, we'll have to wait on that. They may be eligible for a LERTA, but they will not be tax exempt forever, no. Does that answer your question a little bit?
How far do you think they're going to expand out?
Well, you know what? It's private money, and as long as they build within our codes and our ordinances, you really can't stop a private person from buying businesses and redeveloping them. I mean, there's no law that says, if they're doing with their own money and they're abiding by the law, what can you do? Now, in the case of Gannon, the fund is for development. I mean, you're talking about Hammond and the other ones that threw money into the pot. I think you're talking about the EDDC. That's a 501(c) that's buying property and intends to pay taxes on it, unless they would meet, in the case of, if it's an educational institution, well, then they could apply for tax exempt status. But what they're planning around the park, they intend to pay taxes on. But who knows how far they're going? I mean, it's private money, you got, look what happened with Velocity Net. You had Mr. Dudeman, who bought the old Rothrock building.
Right, but Hammett and Gannon's tax-free.
Only if the buildings, not all their property is tax-free. Only the ones that pertain to their mission. If they have a for-profit venture, then they have to pay taxes on it. And by the way, on their nonprofit ventures, they are one of the few, Hammond and Vincent, are one of the few that have a pilot agreement with the city, which means they pay 1/2 of their tax bill to the city. Gannon does not have one, Merciers does not have one, Lecom does not have one, but Hammond and Vincent do. Does that clear up some of the mess?
Well, how far do you think they're going to expand their ownership throughout the downtown?
Well, Erie Insurance, I mean, they've made their plans pretty clear that, they have a lot of land they plan on developing for classrooms and dormitories, maybe some businesses, but they are paying taxes on all their property once their LERTAs or their other there are other things that happen with them are done and finished.
I know they're expanding more and more. They're buying more homes, more blocks.
Right, and they may get alert on them, okay, which will, if we pass it, but they will pay taxes at the end of the LRTA. Years ago, when they built their headquarters, they got a tax, I think it was called a Keystone Opportunity or something, that was tax exempt. But they're paying on that headquarters now, today.
Do you know how much more property they're going to keep on buying?
No, the only time they come to us is if they need rezoning. They're a private company. Although, what they said in the paper, you could see that they bought a large tracts of land all the way up to almost Parade Street. I mean, that was in the newspaper. But as a private company, they don't have to divulge it unless they're asking for rezoning. You kind of have to watch the real estate transactions. But they are a private company and they're doing it with their own money.
How far west do you think they're going to go?
How far west?
Yeah.
Couldn't tell you. I know they're going east, but I couldn't tell you how far west. I know Gannon would like to clean up their campus. These are just things you hear, but they have made no plans to the city or no request to council for any rezoning or anything like that. When they do that, then it becomes public record.
Do they get their zonings changed automatically?
Pardon?
Do they get their zoning changed automatically?
No, they have to go through the same process everybody else does. The affected homeowners go to a zoning hearing. We have a public hearing where you hear the pros and the cons, and then it's up to the zoning commission to make a recommendation, and council votes on it.
But it always gets approved. No one never says no to them.
Well, not everything has always been approved. I think the majority of stuff does, yes. I won't disagree with you there. But there have been, off the top of my head, I can't tell you where, there have been cases where rezonings weren't granted in neighborhoods because, neighbors didn't want it.
But won't they just come back later and get it done then too?
Pardon?
Won't they just come back later and then get it done?
Well, they can try it, but what project what are you worried about? So maybe I can answer your question.
Gentrification?
Gentrification?
Yes.
Yeah. How do you see that happening?
Well, they're pushing all the people out, and where are the people going to live if the big three are buying up everything?
Well, they can't put people if nobody knows what's going to happen as far as
the lower income people.
You're talking about if they buy a building and what would happen if you were in a building and your landlord decided he wanted to sell the building when your lease was up?
Yeah, he'll sell it.
Yeah, you have that could happen downtown, but in that case, I'm sure there'll be a backup plan to relocate people. I don't know how it happened, but we were one of the few cities where...
Who's going to pay for the relocation of the lower income residents?
We're one of the few cities where all the lower income people got warehoused, I call it, in a couple buildings. They should have been spread out through the whole community. And, if somebody buys a building and the leases are up, I'm sure there'll be a plan, but, things change. Nothing ever stays the same. What could I do if I live in an apartment, like I said to you, my landlord decides he wants to get out of it, that's going to happen.
How about the three restaurants in North Park Road? Mm-hmm. They were forced out.
Well, they had leases with the landlord, and the landlord.
Are they going to replace them with more expensive restaurants?
Pardon?
Are they just going to replace them with more expensive restaurants or more expensive?
I haven't seen the plan, but that's what it looks like. And you know what? I knew one of the merchants down there that had trouble with his landlord, and he always knew.
Isn't that gentrification?
No, that's That's what would happen if, it happens all the time. What if somebody buys one of the bars downtown and decides, I'll give you an example.
Okay.
Herman's Cafe, right?
Yep.
What if somebody bought it right now and it's called the Kickstand and decided they wanted to make it an upscale restaurant?
Right, but no one's living there.
Pardon?
No one's living there.
Nobody, I mean, you're saying like the 3 restaurants. Nobody lived in those restaurants, but the problem is that somebody bought the building from the landlord, and when you have a lease,
They weren't allowed to renew their leases by the landlords.
well, first of all, I don't know what their leases said. That's a legal issue.
They're out.
It may not be, you know, leases aren't always automatic. They say they're subject to, I've signed contracts here at the city where it says this deal can be abrogated by mutual consent of one or both parties at any time.
They already showed on television what they already wanted to do.
Well, yeah, I mean, look, I feel bad. I knew of one of the merchants, I was gonna say, I knew somebody that had a different building, and he had the same problem with his landlord. He could never make the kind of repairs he wanted because he didn't own the building. He was always at the whim and call of the landlord, and so he decided to move. He moved his business somewhere else where he has a better lease.
But they were in prime locations, but now they're going to be in a lot worse locations now.
Yes, I mean, what can I tell you? I mean,
Like big businesses taking over.
You cannot tell a building, you cannot tell somebody that they can't buy a building, okay? If the building's for sale, they can do whatever they want with it.
That's true, but it's not ethical.
Yeah, you're probably right, but when has that ever stopped a lot of things? You remember years ago when Gus Palakis had his candy store downtown?
Yeah,
How old are you?
pretty odd.
I'm just asking a point of reference.
Waco's Candy's been there for a long time, but the owner sold to another company.
Well, but you know what happened at 926 State Street, right?
No,
Are you over 50?
no.
Okay, you wouldn't remember this. I was a young man, and city had a redevelopment plan, and they came in, and you could call that gentrification. They tore down a lot of the old buildings on State Street. Gus Palakis fought them, and he didn't want to give up his business because he called himself 926, correct?
Okay.
And 926 was the address of his store on State Street. And if you want to know where his store was, it's in that little courtyard that sits between the hotel and the building next door. It's a very little space. He fought them for years, and he lost in court because the city took the land through eminent domain and redevelopment. The new owner of the hotel didn't want him in there, and he was gone.
But would the city take the land for Gannon or your insurance or the hospital if needed to?
Cities can take land for public good.
No, would they do it? Would they do it for them, for the big 3, and then sell it to them for pocket change?
I don't know. This deal was not such a deal. There was an opportunity to buy a building. The owner who owned all those properties,
Right.
he's getting out of business, so he sold them.
Right, but that's the past. We're talking about the future, and the future is that a lot of these Erie residents are being forced out by the big 3, and the city's just going to use blight to force them out.
Well, what if we want to put in? What if a new owner wants to put in a different level of housing, and then move these people to maybe some better housing somewhere else? What's wrong with that?
But that's not realistic, because that's kind of
We warehoused all these people years ago, and nobody said a word when we stuck them in an old hotel and we stuck them in other buildings. Nobody cared. They were out of sight, out of mind.
that's assumption. You're guessing.
I'm not guessing. I'm telling you what happened. I was there when downtown died, and the city took advantage of federal funds.
But you're guessing about the future.
No, you're asking me about the future, and I can't tell you what they're gonna do. I can only tell you that if there's opportunities to buy property, anybody can buy the property, and if they follow the rules, can do anything they want with it.
But the city's going to take the property and sell it.
We haven't taken any property in years. I'm just saying, years ago when they had redevelopment, they did that. That was way back in the 60s, in the 50s.
Now, you think that's going to happen again?
If there was a massive renovation project that was for the good of the city,
Isn't that what's going on right now?
no. No, it's private developers buying property.
That's still massive development.
Yeah, but it's private money. How do you tell anybody, if you wanted to buy a building right now,
Right?
should I have the right to stop you?
No.
Wait, that's what you're telling me to do with the big three.
Right, but the city's going to take the property and sell it to the big three.
No, we're not taking the property. They bought the property fair and square and you can look up the real estate transaction. They bought it from the gentleman, they got rid of the property, and they decided they have a plan of what they want to do with it. There's nothing that says they have to keep it the way it was.
But
If you buy a restaurant, do you have to serve the same food they did before?
But in other cities and states, they've done this where they take from the residents, basically for pennies, and then selling it.
We haven't done that. This is a private sale. This was done by people that put their own money into a pot. They formed a nonprofit corporation, and they went out and bought available property that was in need of repair, and they plan on fixing it up and renovating it.
What if they build up, right, and then eventually these big three, they go broke? How's the city going to make back?
If it goes broke, the county takes the property and sells it, just like any other piece of property. What happened when people went bankrupt in the past? What happens if you go bad? They take your house, right?
Yeah.
They sell it. That's all. Somebody else buys it.
But those companies. But I mean, who's going to take the loss if they let's say they can't? I don't know, if they start laying off people. You know, if they're not. I mean, where's the money going to come from if they're removing all the citizens, the residents?
What do you mean? Where's the money coming from? They're trying to restore the tax base. 16501 is one of the lowest, I think it is the lowest zip code in the whole country. Are you aware of that?
But it sounds like you guys just want the upper class there.
No, they're not saying that. They're saying they're going to renovate certain parts of downtown. That doesn't say everybody's going to be
Everything's
shipped
going
out.
to go up. Everything's going to raise up. Everything's going to be more expensive down there then.
Well, if somebody wants to open up a restaurant and charge more, you have two choices. You can go there and eat, or not go there and eat. If you don't like the price of, when I was a kid, you had department stores that I couldn't afford to go to,
But
and you have a choice. You either go there or go to the cheaper store.
the new rentals they're not going to rent to poor.
I don't know what they're gonna. Nobody knows what they're gonna do. The city is not involved with any plan to do that. They are merely. We're only involved from the zoning aspect, and if private corporations or private people are buying property, just like Mr. Dudeman did with Velocity Net, he bought the Rothrock building.
When you say the city's using eminent,
No, I said we did it in the past. We're not doing it now. You're putting words in my mouth. There's no eminent domain being done right now.
but you've done it in the past, so there's no guarantee that
It was done when there was a massive renovation project, when downtown was in bad shape,
on right now.
and worse than it is now. And the federal government came in and offered funds, and they started the redevelopment authority, and they purchased land or eminent domained it if it was for some public good. Obviously, if you're gonna build like a hospital, that's for the public good.
these are apples and oranges. I mean, it's going to end up to get rid of the low income. And so you're saying that's a good thing?
What's a good thing?
Taxpayers to come in downtown?
Anytime we can increase the tax base, you understand our tax base right now is flat. Do you know that?
Yes, sir.
That means do you live in the city, first of all?
Yes.
You do?
Yes.
Okay, would you like to pay more taxes or less?
Well, no taxes.
Well, that's not gonna happen, but would you rather pay, if we can increase the tax base, okay, that puts less pressure on all the other tax-paying citizens. Right now, nobody's building in the city, nobody's developing the city to the extent we need to. That's why we're talking about LRTA, and we're talking about trying to get people to invest in parts of the city. You know, yes, there's gonna be some growing pains, but nobody has decided on any course of action yet.
Are you sure they're not just telling us yet? Pie in the sky type deal thing? Kumbaya?
Look, if you want to buy some property, I can't stop you, okay? As long as you buy it legally and you abide by the rules. I gotta let somebody else have a chance, but feel free to call next week.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much. Bye. Have a good day.
Go ahead, caller.
Holy moly, that guy's worse than a leasing.
Well, you know, he had a serious question, but you know, here's the problem. You can't stop people from buying property with their own money. That's legal. Do you agree?
Yeah, I agree.
I mean, if you want to sell your house, now say you had a business. If I want to buy your business and I don't like how you ran it, I can put another business in a different restaurant in there or something.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, the problem is, you know, that land was sold legally by the property owner. When you have a lease, you know that you're there at the whim of the landlord. I'm not a lawyer. I don't know how the lease was written, but apparently, you know, they had the right to cancel leases.
Yeah, that's your question, Kaz.
Yeah.
Did you, where's, you're running alone today, right?
Yeah, yeah, my one colleague, he's working at his job today.
Steiner.
Yeah, and the other one is, he's visiting his parents.
Yeah, okay. Hey, well, anyways,
You could have came on today.
what's that?
You could have came on.
Well, yeah, I could have. You don't want me on there.
Why?
Well, I get a little carried away, sort of like your ex-host Stepka. When's he going to come back on?
I don't think.
I don't use profanities, but
Yeah, I think he wore out his welcome a little bit, but
well, see, that's because of the language, so to speak. But
yeah, he has a lot of good points. He was at the council meeting.
the
last
Patriot,
week.
Pardon?
The
Patriot.
Yeah.
But Steiner, I see he ran on both tickets for the school board, and he only ended up winning on the Republican side.
I shouldn't discuss it, but yeah, that's legal because
I understand that,
Yeah.
but I'm just saying, I know that he's not a big,
Republican.
man, but they took care of him apparently.
Well, sometimes it's weird how when you're with certain offices, you can cross-file.
Did you cross-file when you ran for school board?
Yeah, and I never had any luck, so I just stopped.
Ah, okay.
I did.
I got my timer going. I don't want to run over. Like I said, I limited a 5-minute deal because I don't want to be like the other compadre of yours.
Yeah, I never had any luck on the other side. You know, when I ran.
Yeah.
So you know.
A true dyed-in-the-wool blue blood, aren't you?
You mean Democrat like?
You're not a red. You're not a red. You're a blue.
I'm blue. I'm kind of moderate, but you know, I do lean to the left probably.
Okay. Well, anyway.
But I'm a true patriot because here's what I tell people. I took the oath, and you know, I was in the military, so I can do whatever I want to do. You know.
Hey. 4 years, United States Navy.
You did. Well, congratulations.
4 years. USS John F. Kennedy, CVA 67.
Thanks for your service.
Thank you for yours.
Yeah, you know, the only time you got to call me during the Army-Navy game so we can go at it.
Oh, well, the only problem I got with the Navy,
What's that?
got to let the Marines play on the team, on the Navy.
They do, don't they?
Huh?
They do, don't they?
Oh, yeah, they do. Yeah, they do. That's the problem.
Why? You think that screws them up?
Marines, they always think they're a cut above the rest. They're not. Hey, the Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines, we're all the same.
I got that game on my
Huh?
I got that game on my bucket list. I want to see it in person.
Yeah.
I remember we used to have some pretty good arguments with sailors, but you know, one thing about a fight, at the end of the day, when the civilians came in, we like dragged each other off.
Right.
Then we wound up drinking. We didn't know what we were fighting about.
Yeah, well, that's usually the way it ends up.
But you know, everybody, you know, God bless all the people that serve. It's a tough job.
As far as I'm concerned, it's the same. But it seems to me like a lot of your Marines, they seem like they're a cut above the rest when they, you know, they portray themselves as a cut above the rest, and I don't buy it.
Yeah, I always remind them. I don't know how you guys allowed a lapse in service, because you were just a little behind the Army in terms of years, but they disbanded the Navy, I think, for a year.
Was what?
They disbanded the Navy, I think, for a year.
You disbanded it.
Yeah, because there's a reason why when you look at the flags, the Army flag is first because it's the oldest, and it should have been the Navy next, but the Marines are next because they claimed the Continental Navy disbanded for a year, like, or something.
Oh, I don't know nothing about that history.
Yeah, because you know, usually the Army Navy, they go at it pretty good though.
Yeah. Well, my time's coming up. I'm at the 5-minute mark here.
Well, that's right. What do you got to complain about? Anything?
Get in.
Pardon?
I'm going to let somebody else get in. I don't want to overstay my stay here.
Well, if nobody calls, call back.
Well, no, that's all right. I'm going to be going to my buddy's house right
Okay,
now.
you don't have a complaint or anything?
Toddies, couple toddies.
Okay, there you go.
You have a good one.
I'll have some Polish holy water with you later.
Yes, sir. Love it.
See ya.
Trinity, Holy Trinity.
There you go. Maybe I'll see you down there.
Oh, I go there on sometimes 5 o'clock mass.
I try to get down there on Sundays when they get the football games, and
But the Zababa.
yeah, I'll be down there for that.
Okay.
I'm going to try to, I might even tend bar, so come up to me when I'm tending bar.
All right.
You know, outside?
Yeah, I know.
Okay, I'll give you some,
Bye.
let's see, give you some Ocotium or some Parawa. Yep, it's yeah, nice busy day. I love this. Go ahead, caller.
Hey, I've got one quick question for you.
Yeah, go ahead.
The bar on 38th Street, did they get a permit for that addition they're putting onto the bar?
Which one on 30? You mean the RF?
Right across from CVS.
Oh, that one. That's an interesting one.
Well, check into it.
Well, I did. I can tell you the story right now. You got a minute?
Go ahead.
When Mercyhurst opened up,
I'm not talking about Mercyhurst. I'm talking about their
No.
building.
well, this is why they went through the process, but I want to explain how it happened. They came to the zoning board, okay? And the property review board, they went through all the legal ramifications, and they said they needed that deck because of what happened when Mercyhurst opened up that bar. They said it cut into their business and they needed to have something to compete. Are you following me?
Yeah.
And so what they did, they got turned down. The original plan was for a deck that was really a lot larger, which would have caused problems with their parking and might also cause problems with the sight line.
Yes.
So what happened was they redesigned it. They went back and they got, I think it was property review and then the zoning review board. Well, they didn't have to go back because they met the criteria and they cut it back in scope. So they were okayed by the proper group here at City Hall, the property review, I think it was. And so they were given the right to do that. But they did go through the proper paperwork.
It looks like it's going to be bigger than it was the first time.
Well, was there one there before?
They had a short deck there before. Now this is going way out into their...
Oh yeah, but the original one was going to be bigger than that, and they got turned down on that.
Well, I don't think they have proper enough spaces for the business.
Well, they met the. I have an appointee on the one board, and he asked the same questions you are, and he was told that they went through they got the proper permitting, and it doesn't have to come before council because it's not a change. It meets what they're allowed to do within our code.
Well, maybe they better hang the permit so people can see it.
Yeah, but they don't have a permit up there?
I didn't see it.
It should be somewhere on the building. I'll go by and check.
All right, have a great day.
But they did go through, John, all the procedure.
Okay.
And they blamed it on Mercier's because they said that's kind of, going to hurt their business a little bit.
Yeah, uh-huh.
Yeah, well, my feelings about Mercier's. Should be paying taxes on it.
Yeah, they should pay taxes and all that stuff up there.
Well, it's a for-profit venture.
Yes, it is.
That guy was yelling at me about, what, like Erie's buying, and Erie's paying taxes on their property.
For sure.
And Hammond and Vincent are paying 50% of their taxes.
Hospitals are paying their taxes.
They're paying at least half now. Is that perfect? No, but I wish we had half out of the colleges.
Let Gannon give something. Let Mercyhurst give something beside a couple lousy police cars.
I agree with you. You'll never get that,
Yeah.
I would love to have a pilot with them.
And they're patting themselves on their back because they're donating. Give me a break.
Yeah.
Have a great day.
See you, John. So we're getting close to the end of the show, but, call in. We got some time. Go ahead, caller. Go ahead, caller.
Yeah, I got a question.
Yeah, go ahead.
Is it not illegal to park on the wrong side of the street?
What do you mean? Park in the wrong direction or?
Yes, yes.
Technically, I think it is. I'd have to check the ordinances, but you're saying like if you pull up a street and instead of turning around and pointing the proper direction, that's what you're talking about?
Yeah, basically on a two-way street. You're driving down, okay, if you're driving east on a two-way street, the parking is on the north side.
Right.
But a lot of people park on the south side of the street facing the wrong direction. Now, my question is...
Are they allowed to park there, or can they still park there if they face the right direction?
Yes, yes.
Okay, but they're facing the wrong direction.
Right.
Yeah, I was told that that was, at least all my life I was told that was illegal. I'd have to check the ordinances, but I do think you're not supposed to park the wrong direction.
Right, and the question is...
Because that causes a problem when,
Yes. Who's has the authority to ticket them?
That could be the parking authority.
Well, the parking authority never leaves downtown.
Yeah, well, they do go into the neighborhoods, or the police department is a simple answer.
But boy, I'll tell you, you can make a lot of money off of ticketing the people parking the wrong way.
Yep, I mean that's up to the police or the parking authority, because parking authority they do issue tickets for people parking on the wrong side on the odd even parking.
Yeah, right.
So I mean they have the ability to go into the neighborhoods.
Right.
So you can call them up as a complaint. I'd have to check the ordinance first, see if wrong direction parking.
It would be, like I said, you can pull a lot of money in if you ticket those people.
Yeah, I'm going to ask about that. And if it is, what I would suggest to you is, call the parking authority or police, and if they don't do anything, then call me. And I'll ask them straight out why they would not do that.
Right.
Because I've seen them tag people for parking on the wrong side, different things,
Right.
People with their, flashers on. But I was always taught, especially on a one-way street, you can't do it. But on a two-way street, when you think about it, you're not ready for a person to pull like right out in front of you like that.
No. Another question. How many tickets have they given out for the loud noise ordinance in vehicles?
I would say probably, to my knowledge, I never asked them, but I would probably say not many.
Exactly.
I mean, it's one of those ordinances that barking dogs.
Yeah.
We had a gentleman called in today about we have an ordinance about no fires and stuff, and they told him go to the JP.
Yeah. Yep.
But loud music, that's another. A lot of times they tell you you know, you gotta go to the district justice.
Not so much in the neighborhood, but the cars that drive through the neighborhood that have blasting.
I don't know if it's because they don't have the law's not real clear on how many decibels and they don't have the proper equipment. But I can tell you, my dad's day, when he was a police officer, if you had your window, are you pretty close to my age?
Yeah.
Do you remember when kids used to bug State Street?
Oh, yes.
They used to give tickets out on Lower State because the hospital complained.
Mm-hmm.
The kids that have their windows cranked down with the music.
You know that, and
yeah, somehow we lost all that. We've got so technical now that, we don't do it yet. Sometimes you're right alongside somebody, and it feels like your whole car is rocking from the woofers and the tweeters and stuff, and the bass they got in these vehicles. I mean, I can't even hear what I'm listening to.
Right. I think back in the day when we were bugging State Street, the loud mufflers, I think they were called the cherry bomb.
Yep, you're right. And they used to get you. I remember,
Yeah, I remember Lower State Street there, yeah.
Yep, and all of a sudden, I don't know why we got away from it, but we have.
Yes. Like I was thinking, you pull a car over for the loud music, what else are you going to find in that car?
Well, what used to happen was, when a kid got mouthy with the police, my friend did this, and I was in the car with him, and I told him, you should keep your mouth shut. He just kept yapping, and the policeman kept walking around the car, and pretty soon he had a light burned out over his license plate.
Mm-hmm.
He had a hole in his bumper that was, it wasn't inspected properly.
Yep.
He had stickers on his back window with the college, illegal under the, vehicle code.
Yeah.
So, yeah, you're right. That used to be quite the event.
Yep, that's for sure.
I'll check about that, but I do believe there's a rule against it.
Yes, I remember when they put that ordinance out.
Yeah, I'll check though. I know I saw a guy get ticketed for pulling out of a driveway at the Central Mall and trying to drive past Larry Auditory Store there, Larry Central Market.
Yeah, 17th Street.
And technically, he went down the Runway Street about 2 feet.
Oh.
You know what I'm talking about? It was an offset intersection.
Yeah.
And he got tagged.
Oh, okay.
So they can do a lot of things.
Yeah. You ought to put a bike motorcycle cop up on 26th and Elm, where you're heading east on 26th Street. It says no turn on red.
Yeah.
People don't know how to read.
26 and Elm.
Yeah.
Ah, okay. Right by Burger King and all that?
Yeah. You're heading east on 26th Street.
Correct.
No turn on red. But I see a lot of people go through that intersection.
Yeah. Right turn on red illegal, right?
Oh, yeah.
I'll turn it in and see if they ever want to do anything.
Yeah. I bet I go down there quite, 3-4 times a week through that intersection, and at least.
Yeah, I do too. I'm down there quite a bit. That's right in my backyard.
Right. Yeah, at least twice. I'd say 90% of the time I'll see somebody turn on red there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for calling.
All right.
I got the high sign. I got to get off the air now, so.
Okay.
Thanks everybody for calling, and we'll see you in 2 weeks.
You have been watching Taxpayers Hotline, recorded live from the fabulous city of Erie, Pennsylvania.